I still remember the night the lights appeared, not like stars or distant car headlights. These were different. They hung over the abandoned tower of Ochate, silent and impossibly bright. I wasn't the only one who saw them. A police report from that time mentions them too, described as unidentified luminous phenomena. That was my first real taste of the village's strangeness. A place where history and fear are baked into the very stones. Ochate. Even the name sounds ancient. It's a deserted village in the province of Burgos, in northern Spain, a place of ruins and silence. I first came here with a group of friends, drawn by its reputation as Spain's most haunted village. We were young, skeptical, looking for a thrill. We found something else entirely. Back then, it was just a collection of crumbling stone houses on a lonely hill, surrounded by fields. A place forgotten by time, but the archives tell a different story. They speak of a once living community, abruptly erased. The historical records are sparse, but chillingly consistent. 3 epidemics, each one more devastating than the last. In 1860, typhus swept through the village. Then, just 4 years later, smallpox. And finally, in 1870, cholera. Each time, the surrounding villages were left untouched. It was as if a curse had been laid specifically on Ochate. The few survivors fled, leaving the homes of their ancestors to crumble. I walked through those ruins, trying to imagine the panic, the grief. It felt less like a historical event and more like a fresh wound. The silence in Ochate isn't peaceful. It's heavy, filled with the echoes of sudden, unexplained death. Years after the village was abandoned, the stories began to change. They were no longer about disease, but about something else. The modern legend of Ochate began in the 1980s, when people like me started visiting. On one of those early nights, we were camped near the old San Miguel Tower. That's when we saw the lights. A pulsating sphere of white light, hovering motionless in the dark. We were frozen, trying to make sense of it. There was no sound, no explanation. It just hung there for what felt like an eternity. 10 bunnies. Later, I learned that a journalist, Prudencio Mu, had captured a photograph of a similar light in that exact spot in 1981. His photo became famous, drawing even more people to this desolate hill. The lights were just the beginning. The more time I spent there, the more the village revealed its unsettling nature. One evening, while exploring the ruins of the church, I heard a sound. It was faint at first, like a child's voice carried on the wind. I stopped, listening. It was the name Cantia, over and over. I thought my mind was playing tricks on me, the wind whistling through the collapsed walls. But then, years later, I read about a team of paranormal investigators who captured an electronic voice phenomenon, a disembodied voice recorded in that same area, whispering the same word. Cantia! Another time, near the small hermitage outside the village, a friend screamed. She swore she saw a dark, hooded figure standing among the trees, watching us. It disappeared the moment she pointed it out. We found no tracks, no sign of anyone. We later discovered that local legends spoke of the last monk of the hermitage, who mysteriously vanished centuries ago. It wasn't just us. The 80s and 90s saw a stream of visitors, journalists, investigators, thrill seekers. Their testimonies started to build a disturbing pattern. Reports flooded in of sudden temperature drops, malfunctioning electronic equipment, and the overwhelming feeling of being watched. One famous photograph, taken by the GEIFO, Paranormal Research Group, allegedly shows the apparition of a young girl in a window of one of the ruined houses. The image is blurry, grainy, but it added another layer to the village's dark tapestry. Official police records from the Guardia Civil also noted multiple reports of strange lights and trespassers who claimed to have witnessed inexplicable phenomena. I wasn't just imagining it. What I experienced was part of a larger, documented mystery. Of course, there are rational explanations for some of it. Skeptics point to the military base nearby as a source for the strange lights. The sounds, the wind whistling through ruins, or animals. The apparitions, a trick of the light, or the power of suggestion in a place that's already famous for being haunted. Psychologists call it pareidolia, our brain's tendency to see patterns, like faces, in random stimuli. And the epidemics, Some historians argue they weren't as localized as the legend claims, that the story was exaggerated over time. These explanations make sense on paper, but they don't account for everything. They don't explain the consistency of the reports from different people over decades. They don't explain the voice saying Cantea on a recording, or the sheer number of independent witnesses to the lights. The rationale and the paranormal, neither one could fully explain the oppressive atmosphere of Ochate. My last visit was on a cold, foggy night. The thrill was gone, replaced by a deep-seated unanswered. The village no longer felt like an adventure. It felt like a warning. Every shadow seemed to move. Every gust of wind sounded like a whisper. The weight of its history, of the deaths and the strangeness, was too much. I was standing there, looking at the skeletal remains of the houses, and I realized I was an intruder in a place of profound sorrow. It was a place that didn't want visitors. That was the night I decided I wouldn't come back. The psychological toll was too high. It wasn't about fear of a ghost. It was about the chilling reality that some things are simply beyond our understanding. Today, access to Ochate is restricted. The path is blocked, and the village has been left to its silence. But its legend continues to grow. It has become a permanent scar on the Spanish landscape, a testament to a mystery that has never been solved. Was it a series of tragic coincidences, amplified by myth and human psychology? Or is there truly something wrong with that lonely hill in Burgos? I don't have the answer. All I have are my memories, the testimonies of others, and the documented facts that defy easy explanation. Ochate remains a place where the veil between our world and another feels terrifyingly thin. It taught me that some stories don't have a neat ending, and some questions are best left unanswered. If you want more real, unexplained cases, subscribe to Unnoticed Files.